Hey, what up? It's Cody Kiks. I'm the CEO of Canadian Diamond Boys, the coldest ice in the country. You might catch me riding motorcycles, foreign cars, Cadillacs, and a few other waves that I make. I design and manufacture the cleanest grills and fine diamond jewelry. I invest into precious metals and real estate, turning trap houses into trap homes. I'm all in, yo. It's double up.
All right, so Rolex or Audemars? What's your thoughts?
I'm in the Rolly gang, baby.
Your Rolly gang?
Nah, I don't know. I'm in the middle. I got a couple cool stories about how I you come up on it and how I used to really understand the process of these big, I don't know, let's say top 10 watch companies, like the Swiss watch companies. There was when I first got a Rolex, I knew they were all, everyone's like Rolex. I didn't like Rolex at first because I always seen fake ones, and growing up when I was 14, you'd get one from somebody and then you'd take it into the jeweler and they'd be like, nah man, it's a fake one. You're like, what the fuck? How do you tell? I just thought every Rolex was just fake all the time, right? Unless you've seen some old ass geezer wearing a Rolex just killing it, an elderly person just always had a Rollie on, and that was when you knew. You're like, oh yeah, it's legit. But they look like old man watches, like the Sopranos shit, you know?
Yeah.
But I started doing more research naturally, just being involved with jewelry and seeing some of the bigger jewelers with them on, and they their whole store was just all they cared about was watches, and that was kind of cool. Then I started to understand the brand and learn more details on those brands, and with the knowledge I have now and the experiences I've had, Rolex is by far the easiest watch to sell. Everybody knows the name, the logo's super straightforward. It's fucking, it's we made it. Before Rolex was as poppin' out here in the West Coast, Breitling was the
OG.
That was the OG. As soon as you had it was the most hood rich watch. If you had a Breitling Super Avenger, that was the watch that everybody thought you wanted. I remember wanting one for some reason. I'm the littlest, skinniest guy I've ever seen, with the tiny little wrist. The watch is 4 times the size of my wrist. That was one thing I noticed. I had them all anyways, but the most comfortable watch I've ever had on the wrist, for wearing day to day, has probably been the Audemars, the Royal Oak standard with the 41, nice thin case, the new style.
So would you say that's its best up on a Rolex? Being the comfort.
Yeah, it's definitely it's gauge it by this, gauge it by who's buying those watches. So Rolex, you can get into a Rollie for I guess as low as 6,000 to 8,000 and just kind of go up from there. Where an Audemars, you're in, I'd say you start at the 20 bands mark right now, in the same era, today, for today, 20,000 and up, you're getting into an Audemars. And then you start getting into a Patek, you're gonna be looking at the 50 to 100K, probably close to 100 for realistically, especially plain Jane watches right now are skyrocketed and crazy. Where you could buy a fully iced out watch for less than you can. You could buy a fully iced out Patek for less than you can a plain one, just because of the availability in the market or whatever. But the next up, then you start getting to the RMs and stuff. But Cartier and Rolex, that's your entry level shit. That's where you start, get a little watch. Breitling is even before that. It's a little lower, $3,000-$4,000 you get yourself.
So Audemars and Rolex, can you even compare the mechanicals?
Yeah, I think you can, but from my personal experience, in my service experience, if I sell 100 Rolexes and I sell 50 Audemars, 30 of the Audemars will probably need service before the Rolexes, realistically. I spent in the newer, the later models, the newer models right now, those ones are in comparison of the newer and later stuff. The newer models, I don't know, the Rolex is pretty bulletproof, overall. I've bought a lot of brand new ones and never really ever had to, it'd be our problem that we fucked up and dropped it or something.
Yeah, that doesn't happen, really, does it?
No, yeah, that's how I've had to service watches, is because I've fucked my own watch that fell off the bike or something.
Okay, I see.
Just for reference on here, so a few years back, before everyone knew what Audemars and Patek was here, we could buy Audemars. We were buying them in Calgary at this one store for like $14K at like one of the jewelers out there that was carrying the Audemars account for like $14,000 for the watches now that are listed at like $24,000 retail, but you couldn't get them. Like, you can't go in and buy one right now. Like, I try every day, like no matter what. Like, I put money on it. I'll leave the money sitting there till like a year, 2 years goes by until one comes up that they'll just like pass off to you. Spend whatever kind of crazy money to get it. But at that time, no one knew what Audemars was, so these things were literally just sitting in the cases. And because like I'm moving around, traveling like in Florida and Houston, and like that shit started already getting like popping, like from the European people kind of already had it. They knew what it was. So we're buying them here and just selling them to the guys out in Florida and shit. They were buying them for 14 and selling them for like 18 US. For some reason they were in the shelves here, which is crazy, but like that was wild to me. And then we started busting them down. That was all we wanted, was like a bust down Audemars. So the AP bust down was kind of like, got popular to the next step. And then like when Patek started, kind of like people were like, I want to get the Patek. My first Patek I bought was a 3800. It was all gold. I bought it at like some estate sale, like online. I purchased it. I paid like $24,000 for it, like US. It was dirt cheap. It's like probably worth like 50 right now. I sold it to my buddy for like a 5G come up in Houston, and then I was like, I don't know what the hell happened. I just didn't realize the value of it. It was probably worth 40 at that time.
What are you wearing now?
Just a big face 40 mil Rolex date. That's it. But the big diamond bezel, that's kind of what we specialize in, do the diamond setting on the watches, but still do the plain Janes for the plain Jane people out there. But the Rolex, man, I'd say like for sale factor, like the more Rolexes you have in your showcase, the more money you're gonna get. It's definitely the watch that someone wants right now. Like, it's the go-to. Like, what do you want? I want a Rolex. It's a bucket list. Like, it's just the watch to get. People are paying like double, triple money.
It's a status piece.
Yeah, it's a straight up status piece. It's like people are paying double or triple money for like this, like a steel Rolex, like the entry level starter Rolexes. They're paying double or triple the money just because like they're like, I want it, but you can't get it. It's just like, it's crazy. Like, the dealers get them. I'm sure they get like however many they need a year or whatever, but you gotta like, you can't just go in and buy them. They're never in the showcase. You gotta go and like select the right person to get it, or like, you know, like they're selling like, you have to buy like 4 watches of like other brands just for them to sell it, or like you have to be like spend $250,000 and shit, and they might throw you 1 or 2 here and there. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You just pay full price, you can get it tomorrow, like full market price, not like the actual retail. If it costs 10,000, if you can see it listed online for 10,000, it's probably selling for like 30, at least 20.
What was your first Rolex?
Bullshit ass like little 34 millimeter, and it was gold, and I melted it because the gold price was worth more money mentally. I don't know why we were melting like the little. I thought it was a girl's watch, and I just melted the shit. But that was not uncommon at one point, because like we were paying like, I think I paid a couple G's for it or some shit, but it was worth more gold because it was 100 and something grams, and the gold went up to a certain amount. So it was just like, I don't know, it made more sense to melt it for some fucked up reason. And then a lot of other people were doing that too that I knew. Like, you would get like a little like a 36 millimeter, and like everyone was just melting them. There was just so many of them, like the gold ones and shit. But even like the steel ones, like, I don't know, we're just flipping them for like, I remember $1,500, like 2 grand, you can get like Datejust. Like right now it's like 5 G's to get that shit for like old ass ones and shit too, like grandpa's watches and shit.
Yeah.
So now we can make them look good though. Like, we take them, we do full like Rolex like services on them, like to get like the bezels recut, like so that they're nice and mint. You can get the bracelets like redone. If it's gold, they'll redo the bracelet, or you buy a new bracelet, throw that on. You can get like brand new polishes on it, stuff like that. Get the movement all fixed so it runs and keeps time good, and then put a little diamond bezel on it. Like, it looks like it's worth so much more, man. It's a lot more spark on it, which is super duper cool. That shit is crazy. But overall service, like you asked me, like Rolex versus Audemars, like comfort, I'm wearing an Audemars for comfort for every day. But another thing is too, like you can't really just go out and get, like the Audemars is like, it's just another bunch of money sitting on the wrist. Like you can get like 20 Rolexes for one Audemars.
That says something about their brand, though.
Yeah, I think so too. And we don't know enough about it, like out in North America. Like we haven't been Audemaring as long as we've been Rolexing. You know, there's just Rolex is everywhere, and there's like one Audemars dealer in Vancouver, who I honestly don't even think they have accounts anymore. One in Calgary, who I also don't think they have accounts anymore, and then one in Montreal and one in Toronto. So it's like, compared to Rolex has one in like one or two in like every store. And we used to have more Rolexes, which Rolex did pull back there. And you'll notice like every couple of years they like bump up the price. Like our inventory went up just from one night, like in the new year, they just boom, like these big faces. Like we used to buy these big faces and get discounts on them. Like when they were coming out back in like 2016, we could buy a big face 41 and get a discount on it. It was $36,000 retail Canadian, and we would get them for like 30 bands and shit, 32,000 all in. Like they would give us like 20 points off and shit, like the dealer, if you bought like two at a time. And then they just like, they kept going up, and like, man, had we known, I would have bought every single damn big face 41 millimeter you can get, because now they're discontinued, number one, and they go up more. And you buy the right ones and shit, you just got to spend the money. It's crazy. Even if you bought a Patek back before they were cool now, like in North America, like you can pay like 30 G's for a steel, or 40 G's US for a steel Patek, and sell it for like right now like 80. It's a double come up. Like it's just crazy with those, like the way that the watches is, and being realistic too. Like those ones that I'm leaning towards, I always talk presidents because that's kind of like my genre. All my like network likes that shit, like the day-dates and stuff, like the gold watches. But like the money is like, you buy a Daytona for like whatever it is, 15, 16K, if you can get it, which you probably can't, the steel Daytona, and then you turn around and sell it for double up, like automatically. That's crazy. You're not gonna do that with the day-date, but over time, like you could wear that watch, like that 41, if you bought it for 30K and you wear that watch, like that shit's worth, like if it's nice condition, you had all the paperwork with it, and like the sticker's still on it, probably not worn, but you could probably sell for 50 right now, 50 Canadian. So, and when we sell it to the States, like the dollar's always a lot higher. Then you can work around taxes in a certain way, and then you can also get more money from just like the US value, period, just because the US dollar is always like kicking Canadian dollars ass lately. Back in 2008, they kind of sucked. It was more even. That was when you should be buying houses in like everywhere down there. There's so much foreclosures and shit, just like everyone lost their jobs, which, I mean, the rich come up on that shit. But the watch situation too, like there was a lot of watches available. People were, that's your little safety deposit box. You have a watch, you buy the shit, like you get knocked or some shit, if you're like a little trap star, you gotta sell your shit. At least you have like a bank account, like you can get your money back on it. Rolex especially is super easy to sell. Like everybody wants a Rolex, so just buy it. And then people always ask me too, like if we want to get on that subject about the diamond setting shit, like we put a bezel on your watch, you can put it back to just a normal bezel, because it's all our bezels are all machine fit, so we just press them on. You can do like the crazy ones where you have to glue it, but that shit's all casted. That's old technology. Now we have like computer design with machine like milling and stuff, like the same way Rolex is making their bezels, we're doing it for ours. But when you set diamonds into the case, like basically you don't lose value, but you lose customers. So that is part of the value. You're going to lose the value of having like every marketing budget and all the money that Rolex puts out to their watch to like process this watch and to like to sell it. You just took that away because the people that they're marketing to isn't the guy that wants the diamond setting in the watch. So when you diamond set that, like you basically have to do all your own marketing. Like you have to create your own buzz.
Certain demographic only.
Yeah. So like some guys don't want to be loud because they're doing something they don't want to be loud about, or some guys just don't want the headache of,
or less is always more.
Yeah, exactly. So they just want that plain thing just because they're trying to impress somebody or something. But
and if you see it, you'll know.
Yeah, you know. And just like there's other rollies out there that you just probably ain't ever gonna get at the store. But like I've seen them, and I've done negotiations on it and done deals with them. But like they could retail for like 130,000. The chances of you getting one, like I think like a full dealership would probably wait like 2 to 5 years just to get one. And the retail after, like the retail is like 130 to 140K, but when you go to resell it, like that watch would be worth like over 400K. Like it sells in the market. Like if I wanted to go buy one today, it would be over 400K for me to get it Canadian. So a dealer is not going to give that watch just to like, I don't know, they're probably just going to keep it, honestly. Like why would you give that away? I wouldn't. Just fuck it, just leave it there. It's an asset. For putting together a program of your like investing in a watch, definitely just do the most amount of research ever. Why you want the watch. If you just want to stun on your friends and show it off, like that's the thing. If you want to put in your money into a good place, return on your investment. If you just want to break even and resell it, wear it for a year or two, resell it. There's so many different levels to go with it, but whatever you like for comfort wise, I like the Audemars. Rolex is great too. It literally depends what you're doing, where you're going. Like Saturday, Sunday, you might want to have iced out. There's different things. If you're just like going fishing, like you're gonna have another watch. You want to make sure that shit's waterproof too. So some of these bust down watches with the diamonds, you gotta know they ain't doing the pressure test. They ain't doing it correctly, or they're drilling too deep in the case. You're gonna fuck it up with water and shit like that. But all the details that you come to, man, just like either or, it just depends what day it is. It's a good investment if you're buying a watch. Just do the right paperwork, get the right stones in there, get the right plain Jane, put it on the wrist, keep all the shit that you can with it, and you're good to go. That's it.